evening and welcome to The Nest. I'm your host, Maureen Waititu, and as always, we bring you real stories from real people to inspire you in your everyday living. And tonight is not different. I have two incredible guests from a wonderful, wonderful organization that is doing work that should be done everywhere, and that is supporting visually impaired children and students and even older people with innovation and technology. And this is an episode you can't afford to miss. Welcome back. Tonight I'm joined by an incredible guest, of whom, if I introduce, I don't think I'll do enough justice to her. So I'll allow her to introduce herself, and later on her colleague will join us to explain to us exactly what the organization they work for is doing. So Parna, welcome to The Nest.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Maureen.
so much for creating time to come and sit down with us.
Thank you for asking me.
It's our pleasure. So, like I said, I won't introduce you because I feel like you are the best person to introduce yourself. Maybe you can just go ahead and introduce yourself.
So my name is Suparna Biswas, and I'm the CEO of an organization called Kilimanjaro Blind Trust Africa. It is a charitable trust, and we are based in Nairobi in Kenya, and we work in 6 countries. So we work, so personally, I am of Indian origin, but I would say that I'm an African, because I have worked in Africa for over 25, almost 30 years.
That's a long time.
From West Africa to Central Africa to East Africa.
Yes, you're African.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. And I am very passionate about bringing education to those with different abilities in Africa.
Yes.
Which is why today I'm leading an organization that was founded by a couple called Paul and Kim Pullman. So Mr. Pullman, he was the global CEO of Unilever. And he was with Unilever for many years, and he took a trip to climb Mount Kilimanjaro with a group of CEOs from all over the world. And there were 8 of them who were visually impaired. So they had no sight at all. And so they managed to reach 8 of them, including Mr. Pullman. They managed to reach the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. And so they started discussing, what can we do for those with visual impairment? How can we bring education to them? And that is how in 2005 this organization was founded. And they took little steps, and over the years we were able to build a very coherent program that would address the needs of access to quality education for those with visual impairment.
Wonderful.
So as you may know, that there are many kinds of visual impairment.
Yes, please do break that down.
There are those who have total loss of sight. There are others who are partially, who are known as low vision. And low vision can be many different medical problems that have something to do with the optic nerve or with the cornea or all kinds of things. So they're, you know, you can't just lump them into one, one description. So the interesting fact is that 85% of visual impairment can be corrected and can be prevented. But in Africa, I believe that there is not enough awareness on what parents can do with their children, how they can take their children to be tested, to be evaluated to see if they have a problem. Because as you know, early intervention is the best solution to correcting a problem, especially with a little child. So I think that parents, and Kenya has a wonderful infrastructure provided by the government to be able to access institutions that can evaluate and see what the problems are. There's government, there's private sector, There is other non-governmental organizations that can support in finding out what is wrong with the child and what they can do to correct their vision.
Yes.
But many low vision individuals also simply wearing glasses can solve the problem.
Right.
But sometimes lack of awareness and lack of knowledge is preventing the children from having the sight that they need to be able to go to school and to be able to participate in the classroom.
Absolutely.
So our intervention, Kilimanjaro Blind Trust, is very focused on those with total visual impairment.
I see.
So we support literacy through Braille. You know, Braille was something that was developed as an alternate solution for those who cannot see. To read, write, have numeracy skills, and go from ground zero
all the way
to the top.
Like any other person.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so when that happens, we say that it's an inclusive situation. And you know that today, many countries around the world, because of the Sustainable Development Goals, they are fighting to ensure that their citizens are included. So inclusion is an important agenda today. And so Kilimanjaro Blind Trust Africa looks after or sort of supports the Sustainable Development Goal 4, 8 and 10, which is about education to employment. So to tell you a little bit about, so this organization was created, and for 10 years the organization worked in the 5 countries, so Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Malawi, and now we are getting into Ethiopia. And it's about ensuring that those learners with total visual impairment have access to quality education. But how can they have access to quality education when they do not have a notebook, a pen, textbooks and so on? It is through assistive devices. So assistive devices, there was and is an assistive device which is a mechanical assistive device. It has been around for 200 years, and that is the common. It's called the Perkins Braille machine. It looks like a typewriter.
Yes, it's the one.
You have seen it? Yes. So it looks like a typewriter, and it's very heavy. It weighs 6.6 kilos. True. And then when the learners are typing on it, it makes a lot of noise.
Noisy,
So it disturbs everybody else. It disturbs the teacher. And so it's very difficult. It's not a good learning environment for the visually impaired learner. We believe that we cannot talk about inclusion if we don't talk about education for the visually impaired.
Very true.
Right? Because that is their only tool. So many parents around the world, they may not know that given an opportunity to access quality education, their child, for whatever reason, having a different ability, has no sight, but has other abilities that we don't know about. And what they need to do is remember that these children, if they're given the opportunity from the beginning to access education, they can be not only independent, they can be able to support themselves and their larger families, they can support their community and their nation. And so we have to make sure that they are no longer invisible. We have to make sure that they are given their right, and that right is to access education. Now, you'd say, okay, no problem. We will send our children to school. But then, it's not as easy as that, because persons with other disabilities, they can see, so they can access a book, they can write, mostly they can write and they can read. In the case of visual impairment, our thinking is that, they cannot see, so they cannot access anything. So that is why we decided that for the 21st century learners of Africa, they must have access to digital skills and digital education, so that they can access their right to employment, to quality employment in the mainstream, and not be relegated only to teaching or to music or to begging or to we have to stop that. And I think that more and more as parents and communities see that not having sight is not a handicap.
No.
Because we don't know these children and these youths have other talents that others don't have.
Exactly.
I'll tell you why.
Please.
When we provide the digital assistive devices for the learners in the schools, we are now seeing that some of them are actually topping their class.
Doing even better than...
Yes. And so more and more as we give them this opportunity to access digital skills, digital literacy, which is reading, writing, being able to count and do mathematics and things like that, it just changes everything. It changes the paradigm.
Right.
And that is our work.
Yes.
So to give you a little bit of idea of how we work, we have a unique model and there is no other organization that is doing what we are doing. There are many, we have many partners because we can't do it alone. Africa is massive.
In fact, you know, you're answering every question I have in mind, because I'm wondering who supports you, who is your backbone, and please go ahead.
So we have many partners. We partner with the government because that's very important. So the Ministry of Education is our key partner. This is for sustainability, because once we put in place a system, then if the government sees that this is working, they can take it up and they can provide, because government has the capacity to provide the support needed. And let me tell you, the Kenyan government has done a lot in terms of policy for inclusive education.
That's amazing.
Yes.
I didn't see that coming. No, because we've lost so much faith in our government, but hearing especially from us, you know, a stakeholder or somebody who is working closely with them, that is such fantastic news.
It is. It is. You see, you can't start anything without having the right policies.
I don't think so.
And without having a measure of sustainability built into whatever program you have. So the government of Kenya has done a lot. They have created inclusive schools. Because you see, when you send a child who has visual impairment or total impairment, and you send them to a special school, they are protected. So how will they go in the mainstream when they have been so protected? And I think you know that because you have experienced from your colleagues and things.
And I have, because again, let me just cut you a little short. I think before we started, I was explaining about a colleague I was with from year 1 to 4th year in university, and every time we're talking, I just keep thinking about him and the what if he had the opportunities that you're giving. And it was difficult because there's a little bit of discrimination. He's treated differently. I remember his machine during exams going like, you know. So yes, I hear you. Okay.
So we focused on, we had to think backward, because education, first we had to address education before we can address employment. So we started with primary school. We worked with an organization in the United States called Orbit Research, and they developed a device, a multifunctional digital braille assistive device that can be used in Africa, Asia, Latin America, in all the countries, developing countries where they don't have huge budgets to support their learners. So we introduced this device, we tested it, we did, and we introduced the device, and then we put them in school. So we are now, after we launched it in 2018, then COVID came. So, you know, it was disrupted, but we are trying to catch up. So we are in 39 primary schools and 18 secondary schools in Kenya. Plus we are in 2 universities, 2 TVET institutions and 2 teacher training colleges. So what we are doing is we start at one end and slowly take it forward. We are interested, so this device, what can it do? It's called the Orbit Reader 20. And what can it do? It helps the learner to read and write. it helps the learner to communicate with any device. For example, I can communicate in Braille, and you, with your phone, you can read and see what I am telling you and what I'm communicating. An adult person can use this device and do banking and not have to depend on anybody on their secret, passwords and codes and things like that, because it connects with every other device, digital device, and does what the digital device does, except the person with visual impairment uses Braille keys. So what this this is doing is it's changing everything.
Yes, and I can't wait, and I'm sure we will go now into deeper details about the device, because they're very fascinating, and I can see we have 2 devices on the table. And when William joins us together with yourself, you will explain further. But I'm curious to know, with all the incredible work you're doing, what is the most difficulty that you come across? Is it being able to access the students in need, or is it the ignorance of maybe the parents or the community? What is the one biggest challenge you wish you can just overcome to make this more available?
Okay, so I can say that the challenge is systemic. Why? Because the young ones today, they are born in the digital age. And so when you give them a digital device, they know exactly what to do. You show them a few moves and they are off and running with it. When you give your son a mobile phone, an Android or an iPhone, he's swiping without you ever showing him what to do.
They get things we don't even know how to do as adults.
Exactly. So that is the biggest challenge. When we go to a school, we bring the device, we train the teachers, because we don't interact directly with the children. So we train the teachers, and we also put in school-based technicians, because for anything digital, you need someone who has more knowledge and more time to be able to maintain, to repair. We provide spare parts. So we give a full service. We provide access to digital content, both curriculum and non-curriculum. So the curriculum content comes from the government, and the non-curriculum content in digital format comes from international book libraries. So, for example, a high school student or a university student can have access to 500,000 titles in any subject for free.
That's incredible.
Because it's digital. So why did I say systemic? Systemic is because our schools, our public schools, have too many children in the classroom, have too few teachers, and even though the teachers are amazing in how they support these visually impaired learners, they don't have enough time in the day, and so it is a challenge. And so we understand that, and we continue, we train, we retrain, we do refresher training, we put all the teachers on a WhatsApp platform to share information. So anything that will encourage the adults to actually adopt the change in technology.
Oh, that's just mind-blowing yet again. At the same time, I know, again, you said baby steps. I see the journey from the beginning, from Kilimanjaro to this wonderful people coming together and doing what they're doing, and also the inventory of this machine, and now even where you're going, it's even further than where it began, despite everything.
So just to give you an idea, this device landed in Kenya, cost $750. So because the dollar is changing all the time, it's about 90,000 Kenya shillings. But that clackety-clack, the typewriter kind of Perkins machine, it costs $1,200. It's even more expensive.
No way!
Yeah. So it's very cost-effective solution for the government, for the school, and for the parents. For the no paper, no transcriber. Everything is digital.
As long as they keep it safe. And
exactly.
I mean, but anyway, I think it's only meant for them. I think if you can do it, there's much more that we can do. And I think seeing Kenya and Africa adopting this, because we have to find solutions for our unique problems.
Yes.
Maybe what applies in the Western countries
Totally.
may not apply
Totally,
to us.
I agree with you.
But you know, if I think of a child down in Mashinani, you know, because I'm thinking of so many aspects. How do you charge it? Is it, you know, and I think we're going to hear more about that when we come back from a short break, yeah?
Right.
Which we must take and also take a sip of water.
Thank you.
But incredible work you are doing.
Thank you.
All right, guys. It's always so much fun here on The Nest, and today is no different. Just talking about anything innovative for visually impaired persons, especially here in Africa. I can't think of a better topic tonight. So, in case you're joining us, just stick around because we're just taking a very short break and we'll be right back.